What's up, CineNerds? I am JP Cross,
And I'm Ryan.
and today we decided to do a special episode since I have a couple days off from tour, and we came home, and The Punisher: One Last Kill came out last week. So we had a few extra minutes. Ryan had a few extra minutes, so while I was home, so we decided to do a quick, maybe not too quick, but a review of The Punisher: One Last Kill while I'm home and release it as a special this week as an extra bonus episode since this just came out.
Say this right now. I'm going right into the or the impressions, the initial impressions. This was fucking phenomenal. In fact, I'll just summarize my initial impressions with two words: holy hell. That's what I'm going to give it. That's what we're going to do.
So, I mean, that sums it up. I mean, you guys, if you've watched this and you've heard me talk about The Punisher or Marvel in general, you usually hear me talk about John Berthal's Punisher series and how high regard I hold it. Like, it's my favorite live action Marvel anything. And I've said that multiple times throughout the past couple of years. And so I was super fucking psyched for One Last Kill as soon as I heard it was coming. And day one, I was on tour, I was on the bus. Real quick, my iPad is old and out of date. It won't update anymore. So only certain apps still work on it. And so, like, my Disney Plus is one of the apps that no longer works on my iPad. So I'm literally watching this on my phone because I'm so excited to see it. So I watched it on my phone the first time, and I watched it actually again this morning before Ryan actually called me or texted me to say, "Hey, let's do this review." So I could see it actually on the TV on a big screen, and yeah, no, I fucking super stoked for this. Like, yeah, John Berthal is the Punisher.
He's without a doubt. Like, I loved Ray Stevenson before. I actually loved all incarnations of it, but like, there's something different about the way that John carries this persona, this character. It's more true. It's almost like he pulled all the other incarnations of Punisher before, including comic book style, and he brought them all together into one. And he's really, really owning this role. He's one of the writers on this too. There's four
Mm-hmm.
writers, and he's one of the writers of this. He wanted to make sure it was done right, and I cannot speak more highly about this than anything. This is the darkest thing Marvel, I think, has put out, in my opinion. And it goes into really dark places. And you're watching Frank Castle go through the torment and the suffering of the ghosts of his family that is gone, that was taken from this version of the Punisher embodies every single bit of Frank Castle to the letter. This was done so well, and there's the soundtrack. Holy shit! You have the opening sequence, the opening credits coming into the actual show with "Mother" from Danzig playing, and you get what's her name, Mama Nucci or whatever her name is, the main chick. Who, by the
Mm-hmm.
way, do you know who that actress is? Do you remember
That
her?
is that is Judith Light, who, if you don't recognize the name, she played Angela on
And
Who's the
who's the
Boss.
boss? Yep. As soon as I saw her, I'm like, "Damn!" So it was really cool to see her. She definitely had a feisty bitch to her. At first, I thought she was legit coming to the Punisher to
Mhm.
have him take out someone for that had wronged her, not knowing it was him that had wronged her in her mind. And the way that Mother came into that, it was great. And there's a weird. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and you know what else she popped up in recent years? The Menu. She was in the Menu.
Oh, that's right. She was. Yeah, she had, like, the medical issue or something, and she was trying to get out of the yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I forgot about the menu, that was great. But yeah, no, it was funny though because, like, she was kind of a badass too, and she literally I think she went all out to get revenge for him killing her family, and
Hmm.
she hired every possible assassin possible to come for Frank, and that's kinda where this whole thing goes into motion. Um, but we'll slow down here, hold on.
Yeah.
So, the whole him and his apartment thing. the whole darkness of it. I mean, he's doing pull-ups, there's blood dripping out of his hands because he's doing so many pull-ups without thinking about it. He's popping pain pills like they're candy, and he's drinking bourbon. He's got a ready-to-go puke bucket. Like, this guy is all sorts of checked out and all sorts of depressed in the worst way. Well, again,
Technical difficulties.
the apartment sequence, though, the darkness that we see out of John Barenthal playing Frank Castle here is surreal. You've got a bourbon to chase down the pain pills. You've got him doing pull-ups with blood coming out of his knuckles because he's doing so many. I think if I heard right, somebody else correlated that he did 41 pull-ups, and they got really deep with it and said just one more till the meaning of life in the 42. And I was like, okay, that's pretty dark. But no, he even has a puke bucket ready to go. So he knows he's torturing himself. He's putting him through this hell because he doesn't want to feel anything anymore. And you can tell he's being haunted by what's going on.
And I got something I'm going to talk about once we get through the review on something that I read that I found interesting that, if turns out to be true, could be really fucking cool. But we'll hop to that after we review this.
I think I know what you're gonna say, but we'll wait till we get there.
Yeah. Because it doesn't happen in this special event.
But it
Um,
will.
yeah. It's kind of brand new day rumors.
Yeah.
Uh, but so yeah, like you're saying, this sets up a broken Frank Castle. He is hallucinating, talking to his uh, former comrades and people who have passed away, and his wife, his kids. He's having visions of all these people, and they're talking to him. And he is a broken man. He does not know what to do anymore. He doesn't have anybody else to connect to his family's death. He's eliminated all of them. He doesn't know what else to do with his life, and he's a broken man. And he's having a psychological break. He's talking to people who aren't there, and he's talking to himself. He's isolated himself, and this is a broken Punisher. And I love it. I mean, it's full of PTSD, emotions, just psychological break. It is absolutely phenomenal. Now, I saw where some people have said, like, oh, well, the first bit of this is slow, but then it gets really action packed. I'm like, well, but this
It's
slow
48
part,
minutes.
it's for the episode. Yeah, let's say the special event is only like 45 minutes, and for like 20 minutes of that, yeah, it's showing that this is a broken man, and it's not slow. You're talking 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes of storyline, and it's not slow for 15, 20 minutes. It's showing you where Frank Castle is after the events of the Punisher series, after the events of Daredevil Born Again. It's showing you what is going on with him. And I love it. Like, I think this whole psychological break for Frank Castle is incredible because it makes sense.
Yeah, no, and this being actually the formal amount of time it says on IMDb is 51 minutes, but still, it's the length of a standard episode for like anything in this series. So to me, this is kind of like when I watch these kind of series, I kind of equate each episode to a comic book because we'd get comic book one at a time. We got them, and this is I equate to a one shot. And this one shot to me, it just like we thought Ray Stevens, we thought Dolph Lundgren was dark. We thought those were dark moments. This is just a different caliber altogether. This is him being vested in it, like I said before, to a different degree and caring and going that extra mile. And to expand upon, you said you're seeing his fallen comrades. I guess there's three of them, and the one is Curtis that we know, and then the other two are actual Marines in real life. They wanted to make sure they were trying to stay true outside of the actors as much as possible. And what better way to kind of represent the struggles of PTSD to incorporate people who are actually living that and going through that. So I thought that was kind of a cool nod. The apartment being kind of barren and empty too. Like there's just so much going here. Like he's intentionally almost sitting within himself in this self-torturous torment, but he's working through his shit, and at one point, he cries to Curtis, he's like, I need help, I need help," and he's crying it to him. But that's a little later on in the episode,
Yeah.
but this episode didn't feel like 51 minutes, it felt like it was a full 2-hour movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And a fast 2-hour movie at that, like,
Yeah.
because they crammed a lot of story. And one thing that I saw today when I actually watched it on a big screen and not on my phone, and I mean, it was, I'm sure everybody caught this, but I missed this little tidbit. Like, when he locks his guns up, he makes the decision that he's leaving the apartment. He cuts his Marine tattoo, puts an X on it. He locks all of his guns up in a duffel bag, locks it, puts it in a safe, and leaves. And I saw all this, but then he goes to the graveside where his kids and his wife are buried, and he puts the key on his wife's grave. And the whole time, like, I was watching it on my phone, I was like, what the hell's that key from? Was he putting the key? Is like key to his apartment or something? And I know everybody's probably like, well, no, it was the key to his guns. It was showing that he was giving it up. And I get that now watching it on the big screen. But like I said, I watched it on my phone the first time, and for whatever reason, that little tidbit I completely missed my first watch. I just saw they put a key down, and I was like, "What the fuck is this to?"
There's a lot of people with over analyzing aspects of this, and that moment you just talked about where he cuts into his military tattoo, his Marine tattoo, and he crosses it out when he's wearing his hoodie outside afterwards, the
You
blood's
have the
coming
blood,
through.
yeah.
Yeah, and so it's a mutant sympathy mark essentially, and so it kind of has some power, and that kind of goes in. If it's what I think you were talking about, I think that that this will lead into some very big things.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, we're on the same page on what we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
but yeah, not like I completely missed what the symbolism to the key was the first time because I was watching it on my phone. But the second time, I was like, oh, well, that was just in my face. I don't know how I missed that. But yeah, this whole graveyard scene though is emotional. I mean, John Berthal knocked this out of the park. Like, he is sitting there. He puts the key down. He starts talking to his wife, his kids, and he starts specifically talking to his daughter. And his daughter in this is actually played by his real life daughter. But he is sitting there getting ready to unalive himself. He puts a gun to his head. He is getting ready to end it because he has no more mission. He has no more reason to be there. And in that moment, he starts seeing visions of his kids and his wife. And then he sees his daughter, and his daughter starts speaking to him. And then she disappears. And this moment is so good. John knocks this out of the park as Frank Castle screaming, "No, no, please, baby, come back!" And the emotion, the raw emotion that he threw into that scene is incredible.
as a parent, that moment was torturous. That moment was definitely heartbreaking to the fullest, and the way that he reacted was so real and genuine. And because he had his daughter play play the role, I mean, and what better way to take that further? Because then you're going into that method acting, and to imagine not having your child there for any
Mm-hmm.
reason like that is just wow. And you can tell, you hear it in his voice. His voice is almost shaking while he's screaming. Um, but I do feel like that moment of her checking him also played a big pivotal moment in the shift of this whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
because there's more things going on in the city. There's crime happening everywhere as he's walking through the streets. He's walking by most of it, and that's the other thing I found funny because you got the Fisk task force going around,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just walking through with like just getting a coffee at a coffee shop and just chilling. But he sees these things happening, these crimes happening, and he's drawn towards this little girl who kind of sees him. She kind of recognizes him from the TV, but she doesn't call him out. She just basically says, "Hey, I know who you are,"
Mm-hmm.
and he you see that connection kind of click there. And I think in his mind and his soul, because of what he just had happen with his daughter at that gravesite, I think in his mind that he's like, there's still more kids, more parents that have kids, and I can't let them go through what I went through. Because he steps up and he helps this little girl and her father and their family, and that's part of the small part of the role.
Yeah.
Now, when that sequence unfolds, I don't think I could have picked a better song
Oh, you talking
When
about
the
the hate? You
killing
talking about the hate
yeah,
breed?
when Hatebreed comes in, I was like, "Oh my god." It was "I Will Be Heard," right? And it was
Yeah.
so, so emotionally charged and so perfect to the as he's getting the kills in, and he's just messing up everybody. I was like, "This is amazing." Like, I was just kinda comfortably watching it, and that came on while the kills are happening, and I got up off my couch like, "Yeah!"
Well, when he leaves the coffee shop, um, and he's going back to his apartment, that whole sequence though is another fantastic Punisher sequence. You have Frank Castle walking through the streets with cop cars getting Molotov cocktailed. You got people getting mugged and murdered and raped all around him as he's just walking down the street drinking his coffee, ignoring everything. And that's a complete turn for Frank Castle, because the Frank Castle we knew in The Punisher, if he saw people doing these things, he would stop them. But this is a broken man with no purpose. This is a broken Punisher that is ignoring all of it. And I thought that scene is so strong. It's so powerful.
I don't I don't know if it's ignoring. I think it's more so the depth of the pain he's experiencing at that moment. He is, he's definitely like he's almost in tunnel vision mode, if that makes sense. He's just seeing the path forward and what he's thinking about in that moment. He's not seeing anything around him. He's almost oblivious because he's got his own internal battle he's going through. So I don't want to say ignoring because I still feel like he would do the right thing if he saw anyone in those situations, but he did his best to I don't know. That coffee must have been damn good coffee. That's all I know.
And this is where Manucci shows up, and as he's going into
Oh
his
yeah.
apartment, and she tells him, you killed my family, or my family's gone, and paints the picture for him, and says the moment that changed my life was 6:47 or 6:37 or 6:47, and tells Frank that, hey, every every thug, assassin, killer in the city is going to have your location at 6:47 tonight. Be prepared, and he goes on into his apartment, and he has another vision, this time of Karen from Daredevil. And she even there's a conversation between them, another emotional conversation, and then she stops and says, "What time is it, Frank?" And you look at the clock, and it's 6:47, or whatever time it was, and you hear everybody in the apartment building just getting doors kicked in and commotion everywhere.
The jumping from balcony to balcony though, and the way he's seeing everything transpire, like that's where it kind of like I feel like everything kind of clicked for him. He's thinking about the other kids. He's thinking about the other people. He realizes this is because of him, and he's like, "I got to stop this because I can't let innocent people get hurt." Uh, but that's the thing I love about Frank Castle. I really genuinely love that there's this he's that conflicted person definitively for me. Like I've always loved like Starscream or like Qui-Gon or anyone who's like in between that little gray area.
Mm.
But he has this code of honor where he means to protect and he's going to do the right thing by innocent people. But if you're a bad guy, you're fucked. He's going to kill you, and it's going to be really brutal. This whole sequence, just the whole apartment complex, all the way down to when he gets to the street, like it just unbelievable. Some of the best Marvel imagery I've seen in quite some time.
And
So
and
I'm
uh, and a lot of people compared this to the Raid.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, that is a great comparison.
Yeah.
The Raid, I don't know if you haven't seen the Raid Redemption, like, oh my god, go check that out. It's one of the best things out there, action wise, action movies.
Hmm.
Um, this definitely has a lot of similarities to it for sure.
Yeah, and you could tell it was influenced by the Raid. It was, even just kind of like some of the shots like in Daredevil that was influenced by Old Boy. I mean, you could take elements from a lot of these things that it felt like in comparison. But it's such a great scene, and you get the iconic shot that we saw in the trailer with the gasoline coming in and setting on fire and Frank's legs on fire and him jumping through the door. And going after all these people, saving people in these apartments, like you said, jumping from balcony to balcony. Um, he starts with a knife. He don't have his weapons. He left his key at his wife's grave, so all his weapons are locked up. So he starts this with a knife, and he gets weapons as he's taking these people out. And kind of like John Wick style, it's showing his marksmanship. I mean, he's going through with an AK-47. If you've ever fired an AK-47, the recoil on those things is awful. I mean, those things they've got a lot of recoil, and he's sitting here with an AK-47 and single shotting people, headshots with it. From one balcony to one all the way across. The other to the other building. So I like the marksmanship for it was showing with that type of weapon. I thought was great. And then there's the fight sequences when he finally gets to the rooftop. He starts going more hand to hand. Which there's some hand to hand stuff in the apartments and stuff too. Like it's start to finish. It is just it's a 20-minute fight scene. Is essentially what it is.
Do you remember is Frank Castle, does he have a healing factor or any kind of strength? I thought he had some kind of power of some sort, some like minor.
They may have put that in at some point, but
Because man,
I
he
don't.
got.
I
I
don't.
mean,
Everything I always read, and I've not read stuff in years, but stuff that I always read. I mean, he was just some guy.
well, I just based on what I saw, I was like, dude, that guy just got stabbed in the heart. Like it was right in his chest, right above his heart a
Oh,
bit.
at the end where
Yeah,
he gets stabbed
yeah,
with the screwdriver right here. Yeah,
yeah, right here.
right here. And that leads you up to your favorite scene. Once he gets down out of the apartment, um, he sees Manucci and he starts to go after her, but he hears the little girl. Hears the father at the coffee shop, and he sees him getting attacked, and he hears the girl screaming for help, and he makes the decision there to let Manucci go, and he turns and starts to the coffee shop, and that's when your Hate Breed song kicks in.
That whole sequence is fucking phenomenal.
That
Um,
that yeah, that whole fight
I
sequence
just
in there is great.
there's just something different about this Frank Castle, and I'm glad that this leads us into the Frank Castle we're going to get in Brand New Day. That's because this is supposed to lead up right to that. Because there's so many things to unpack here. One of the things that was seemed seemed odd to me was the Karen interactions. I don't know. It wasn't bad, but it was like just seemed, I don't know, off-putting after finishing Born Again. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just weird. Maybe I don't know if he secretly like still has feelings for her or what. But yeah,
Yeah, after watching Bored Again, it that her Karen being in that makes no sense from Karen's perspective.
yeah. But for the imagination though, for
But for the
Frank,
imagination for Frank, it makes sense. If you watch The Punisher and Daredevil, the original Daredevil and original Punisher series, then it makes sense. But yeah, I agree. If you look at it from a Daredevil Born Again perspective from Karen, it makes no sense to put that in there.
yeah, no, and I'll piggyback this. So I have some other thoughts about like I don't know what you were alluding to earlier, but me personally, at the end of Born Again, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm about to say a spoiler. So at the end of Born Again, there's something that happens. Uh, Jessica Jones is in the show, and she comes into play, which I did feel like she was a little forced into it, but I feel like they're setting up something bigger on that side too, because Luke Cage and her have a daughter together, and Luke Cage shows up at the end too. So you've got essentially you got Daredevil, you've got Luke Cage, you got Jessica Jones, and I mean that's half of the Defenders. So I'm just wondering because at some point in New Defenders we did have Spider-Man and we did have a Punisher involved. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be some kind of thing happening there. We're going to go down a great path, would because that would be
I've
something.
I've heard I've heard I've heard rumors that what's his name from Iron Fist is possibly making a come return as well.
I want to talk about that for a sec. So, like Iron Fist, I feel like that show was given such a bad rap. Like I really didn't think it was as bad as people made it, and they just
No,
destroyed it.
the fight sequences weren't as up to what the power that they should have been. But man, that first season of Iron Fist, I loved it. I
I did too.
loved that
I
first. Now,
I thought he was a great character, and yeah.
I'll be honest with you though, the second season was kind of weak. I
But
will say that it was not as strong as season one.
No, I agree, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if they felt like they were forced to do it, they just need to get through it, like, that's the way it felt. It felt like we were just being given, like, slop. Didn't
Yeah,
feel like it was, like, what should have happened. But I do think that, those the sequence in the second season with the old Iron Fist coming back and him going doing their thing, that was interesting. But yeah, no, I would love to see him pop back in too. But for Punisher: Last Kill, um, this going into Brand New Day, if you haven't seen the Brand New Day trailer yet, it is very heavily focused around Frank Castle and Spider-Man's interaction. He's driving a bank truck, it looks like, and he's trying
something.
to shoot
Yeah,
the yeah, he's trying to shoot the bad guys, and Spidey tries to stop him, saying, "Chill out." And at one point, he shoots Spider-Man, and he's like, "Frank, you just shot me." And so and there's a swearing part too. Frank goes, "Go, you mother," and then he shoots a web in his mouth. So there's some cool interactions. I just don't know how nerfed they're gonna make the Punisher for Spider-Man.
yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see how this transpires after we get such a dark, intense role from the Punisher to that.
yeah. Um, so from this point on, he saves the family. There's a incredible fight sequence, with the hate breed music, and he unalives somebody with a pen, not a pencil, a pen. Um, and the little girl hugs him, gives him a flower that she made from like she sewed and put together, and he takes the flower to his daughter's grave, leaves it, cleans the grave up, takes the key. Yeah, there we are. We're back to that key. Takes the key, so kind of telling you he's going to go unlock his weapons. Now that takes us to the ending of this, and we didn't talk about the beginning of this film. And I deliberately didn't say anything because you didn't, and I was like, "Well, we're going to talk about this for a minute." Uh, the opening of this film, there is a old United States homeless Marine and his dog, and it starts this film starts. It's almost essentially kind of starts with this homeless man walking up with his dog. He has a little bit of food. He is feeding his dog, telling his dog, "Well, you're going to eat good today." Like it's a great scene because I mean, I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, "Oh, well, this is great." Like he's hungry, but yet he's feeding his little dog, making sure his dog is eating before him. Like I love that whole scene. And then this motherfucker punk comes up, kicks this old homeless man in the head, takes his United States Marine Corps hat, puts it on, picks his fucking dog up. And this man gets up and is begging, like, hey, give me back my dog. And he takes this dog and throws it in front of a garbage truck. This happens within the first 4 minutes of this 45-minute, 50-minute special. When this happened, I was in the bus and I wanted to throw my phone across the fucking bus. I was
Why did that send you
so
so bad?
mad. I was so mad. I was angry. If I could have reached into my phone in that moment and grabbed that guy myself, I would have. Like I was that mad at this.
I looked at my wife because she was kinda over on the couch, she wasn't really watching it, but she was in the room with me while I was excited, and as soon as any that what happens to him, I was like, "Good." I just I just stopped by, "Good."
Well, yeah, at the end, yes. No, I'm talking about the beginning
Yeah,
because
no,
we skipped all. We didn't talk about it, so I wanted to make sure we got our feelings out on this motherfucker before we just jump to the end of this.
I mean, it's a dog. I just cared more about Punisher killing people.
That's where you and I differ because man, I was more angry about this guy than anything else. Like
So
I wanted this guy dealt with.
and I get why, but I'm just saying the reason why I don't fixate on those things is because that dog was very happy on the set and getting fed very well on the set. I'm sure it was just for the scene, so I was okay.
Yeah, but I'm talking from a story perspective, not a behind the scenes perspective. And
Yeah,
that's
no, I
why
got you.
I was so angry at this guy. So fast forward to the end where we're at, you see this guy, and you see him throughout the special, like in the background, hitting other people and attacking them, just like he did this ex-marine. And there's a old couple walking down the street talking about getting on their flight to go someplace, and you see this guy come up with a bat or whatever he is to hit him from behind like he has been doing people through this whole special. And all of a sudden, you just see him fly across the sidewalk, and Frank walks up in full Punisher gear, grabs him, puts a knife up to his face, and you see the old man go, "Hey, that's my cut." Talking about his hat. And so he takes the hat, takes it to the old man, and the old man looks at him and said, "That's not the only thing that he took from me." And that guy takes off running. Man, the Punisher throws an axe at his leg and walks down, looks back at the old man. The old man just nods, and final shot is him shooting this guy. Then Punisher, real big across the screen. Such a satisfying ending. Was such a traumatic opening for me to a completely satisfying ending with this guy getting his.
So I can understand why you're passionate about that sequence and that person. But yeah, no, as a whole though, this particular episode, even though it's a one shot, it is definitive Punisher for me, definitive what Marvel should be, what they should be following a formula of if they're going to go forward and make this matter. Like none of these heroes, like they all didn't just hug and make sparkly fun things on TV or in comics. They were brutal. Like Wolverine, like well, we got some good stuff out of Hugh Jackman. Not gonna lie, that's great. But like Wolverine, dark as hell. Punisher, dark as hell. There's so many different characters. They're so dark, and they started to touch on it really in the Daredevil sequence, and the Daredevil sequences started getting great, and that's why I'm glad they brought Frank Castle in and all that. But like this though is next level. This to me is what I want to see out of Marvel. It's what we need to see out of Marvel. And I can't wait to see where this goes because I don't think this is done. I don't think that they're done having John Barenthal write for Punisher.
Mm, you cut out again.
Well, I'm back.
Well, you're back now.
Did you hear what I said?
Not done with John Bernthal being Punisher.
Oh no, not done with him being a writer
Oh
with
yeah,
Punisher. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, because
yeah,
I mean, he's so vested in this guy. I feel like he's going to continue to do him justice. I feel he's the right choice.
yeah. Same. Uh, review.
You want to go first?
I can. Don't matter to me.
I will. I kind of think we're going to be in the same ballpark here at least, but I think
Probably.
you might be shocked at mine. So I've only done this a handful of times, and I'm going to start with my rating before I say why. My rating is without a question, without a doubt, 5 nerds. I this was 51 minutes of perfection as far as what I want to see out of Marvel, 51 minutes of perfection as far as what I want to see out of the Punisher. This showed people the reality of PTSD, the reality of anyone who's gone through traumatic episodes or been through war. It wasn't just a fictionalized approach. This man's really going through it and he makes you believe it. The way the story is executed, start to finish, the pain in his eyes, everything is just believable, plausible, and god damn was it done well. I can't give enough kudos about this. The music only made it even better. The whole sequence you're talking about where he's ignoring everything around him reminded me of a Radiohead video. I don't know if you remember the one I'm talking about, but it's just like somebody going through the motions and things are blowing
Mm-hmm.
up behind them and everything's in slow motion. That's kind of what that reminded me of, and I loved every bit of that. And I liked your comparison to Raid Redemption because that was spot on too. So yeah, 5 nerds for me without a doubt. This was amazing, and I applaud it fully.
Yeah, for me, everything that Ryan just said, the visualization of PTSD and the psychological break was amazing. John Berthal's uh, emotion in this was over the top and amazing. The fight sequences were amazing. Um, the the story for what it was great. Again, it was a 45, 50-minute one shot. And there was a lot to unpack in a 45, 50-minute time period and to add all the action that they did add. Um, so everything Ryan said, score, the music, everything was great. My favorite Punisher, John Bertha. I want to see him do more. I don't ever want to see him not be the Punisher. That's just where I've been at since he did the series. I'm not going to give it a perfect 5. Only because, man, I would have loved to have seen a 2-hour film. You know, but for 45 minutes, it is perfect. I can't disagree with Ryan. For 45, 50-minute one shot, it is perfect. But I'm going to land at a 4.8. Just shy of perfect.
You
Just
should have
shy
just
of
done
perfect.
5 at that point.
Do a 4.8. I I'm gonna leave it there. You know, and we'll see where they go with the Punisher. It, what they do with him later, it may change my opinion. It may be like, yeah, it is a 5. But the way Marvel is, you know, they may water him down in Spider-Man and completely ruin everything that they just did with One
So
Last Kill.
I don't I don't know what the future of Marvel holds or how it's going to go. What I know is that Secret Wars was supposed to be the end before a reset and reboot. But to me, I think that they should have kept, because people are really getting into Daredevil, Punisher, all these like TV shows. I think they should have kept them separate, if I'm being honest. I like that they bring them into the movies, but like I kind of wanted to see this path continue and have its own world. Spider-Man can come down to the street level because he's done that in the comics, but like I don't know. There's something different about this in a different, it's in a good way. Like, and I don't know if I want to see it get nerfed or diluted or Disneyfied, because that would bum me out a lot. Because
Yeah.
this was excellent. It was excellent.
So, what I was talking about earlier, like the little rumor mill, you know how that goes. This could be completely in left field. It could be some truth to it. I think if there's some truth to it, it could be really cool. Um, that one of the rumors floating around with all the visions that Frank was having in One Last Kill, with seeing his former comrade, seeing his daughter appear in front of him and then disappear, his daughter appearing and saving his life and then disappearing, and then seeing Karen, and all these people are, they're not trying to impact him negatively. They're trying to direct him almost. It feels in One Last Kill. So the rumor mill is in Spider-Man Brand New Day is that um, the girl from uh, Stranger Things, the redheaded
Goes.
girl, is being was casted as Jean Grey, and she's being held captive, and that she's actually manipulating Frank, sending these visions to him to help him get through what he's getting through, because she needs him to help her break out of where they have her uh, imprisoned. And that is the rumor mill, and which could be a really fucking cool twist to bring the X-Men, Jean Grey, and it would kind of make a little bit of sense.
I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of, because no one's confirmed she's Jean Grey yet,
Mm-hmm.
so that's where I'm kind of like, I don't think it's Jean Grey. I think we're gonna get someone else out of her because she's really young compared to the other people in this universe. I don't know how they'll approach that unless they're gonna make a modern twist on X Men. I don't know what to think.
It's untelling, and that could be, like I said, that could be in left field, not accurate, but that's on the rumor mill right now, and
I mean,
it could be great or it could be really bad. It could go either way
in like
if it's
15
true.
years back, if Sadie Sink was who she is now and was cast, that would probably would have made a lot of sense. That would have been great. And she does look the part, but I don't know what to think here. So
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we have to wait for Spider-Man Brand New Day, which comes out pretty soon, doesn't it? It comes out this summer, don't it?
it does, but all I care about is Mandalorian and Grogu this week.
Which I already have tickets for.
I do not, but
I got tickets for 2 o'clock Thursday because I leave Thursday night to get back on tour, and so I will be going Well, I'm gonna release this episode Wednesday, so I'll be going tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon before I get back onto the bus and leave.
I have to work a lot this week, so I don't I don't know what time I'll have, but I'm gonna make it happen. It's gonna be seen this weekend at some point.
Yeah, so I knew I wouldn't have a chance to see it until I got back from tour because we have like 3 days off, but they're travel days from Tennessee to Texas. So like I don't foresee me getting a chance to stop and watch it, and uh, then after that I really don't have any time off. It's all show, then home. So it would be like June 4th before I got a chance to see it if I didn't get to go tomorrow. So
I just rewatched all of The Mandalorian to kind of get ready for it, so I'm hopeful. We'll see what happens.
yeah, that's in the pipeline. So that's coming out. You got Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out. You've got Spider Noir coming soon too. Supergirl, Mastered Universe. So it's a big month or so coming up.
Hey, when's Supergirl come out?
June.
Okay, right around the corner.
Yeah, and Scary Movie, the new Scary Movie. So like over like the next 4 or 5 weeks, there's a lot of shit coming out.
Time to get to the theaters.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
All right, guys. CineNerdsPodcast.com. Invite your friends. Do all the fun stuff. Watch our older episodes, and we'll see you next. We'll see you tomorrow. Actually, we got what episode we got coming out tomorrow? It's
Ready or Not 2, isn't it?
Ready or
No,
Not
wait.
2. Yep.
Yeah.
Ready or
yeah.
Not 2. So, and Ryan and I filmed this episode for Ready or Not 2 like a week after it hit theaters. And so with the other episodes and the stuff we did with Tiffany, I had to push some stuff around, and by the time we was going to release it, it was already kind of leaving theaters, and so I made the decision to not release the episode until it hit digital. Well, Ready or Not 2 hit digital last week, so it's coming to you this week, and so there might be some of the conversations that are more theater relevant versus digital relevant in the release of that review, but you get the idea. It's Ready or Not 2.
All right. Anything
All right.
else?
That's it. You got anything?
No. I'm just excited about this. This was a great episode. I'm pumped about that. How it's going to tie into the Marvel universe and what we got coming this year.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow night. Ready or Not 2. Later.
Cheers.